G'day guys, Calvin, Cartoon Company, down under New Zealand. I'm just about to put a 2UZ Land Cruiser wiring loom into the box. It's coming off the engine, ready to be sent down to the customer. But I see a bit of a demand for understanding what the plugs are on each of these wiring looms. And I see it, and I'm going to work my way through each of the individual wiring looms for 1UZs and 2UZs and 3UZs as I get them through the workshop. This one actually started its life as a Euro spec, but it's very similar to the JDM. I'm going to go to a slightly higher definition camera soon, and we'll go through and talk about each individual connector on this wiring loom to help guys out when they're trying to identify them or trying to understand what each one does. It's going to be a bit repetitive because a lot of the connectors are very similar or the same, but it'll help everyone gain better knowledge of their engine and the connectors that are on the wiring looms. People ask me where I get my wiring connectors. It's out of these boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. And then I get coil plugs like this, injector plugs like this, and they turn up in large packets each time. This is the wiring loom relay and fuse box setup that I've put in for this vehicle, and I've used a tachometric relay to control the fuel pump. At the ECU first, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connectors there. This is a non-VVTI 2UZ. The ECU has the same connectors as a 1UZ VVTI. This plug at the end has 31 pins. It's either can be listed as an E5 or an A. This one, E6, B, and it's got 24 pins in it. E7, 17 pins, sometimes known as a C plug. E8, this normally goes off to the body. As you can see, it's not part of the engine harness, just the first 3 are part of the engine harness. And that's really, really similar to the 1UZ VVTI out of the UCF20 range. Changes in the later ones. So E8, it's got 28 pins, and it's sometimes known as a D plug. And E9, the E plug, just to make it fun, and that has 22 pins. These two go off to the body. The pins are all the same. So you've got 3 rows, and they're all the same size. Different to the 3UZ VVTI and the 2UZ VVTI, which have got smaller pins and the larger pins, even though these are very small pins. So that's the ECU plug. I've added those 2, but these are factory body plugs. They go between the engine harness and the dash harness or the body harness. That one's got 4 pins in it. I don't actually have the count of that one, but that's what that one there looks like. And then there's this little fella here with a whole lot of wires in it with very, very small male terminals in there. There's some earth connectors. This one's got the shields in. And that one's got some power feed connectors in it. Joiner in there. We go up. This one's got the round rubber grommet, and we head up into the engine harness. Coils. 2UZ have the same coils as the 3UZ. They've got a 4-pin rectangular coil connector. Injector plugs. These are the same as all the 1UZs run a high impedance. So the locators are up high, close to the clip, and those can be interchanged. There's a couple of different versions, but they all interchange. That's the same plug as such. The power on this one is in pin 1, and the signal was in pin 2. On the coils, power supply is in pin 1, and the earth is in pin 4. And being the same as the 3UZ, the trigger is by the earth. So that's that one there. And the one beside the power feed is the feedback. This is a non-VVTi engine. No, wait. This is a non-VVTi harness. You'll see it's on a VVTi engine, but it's a non-VVTi harness. So the VVTi sensors, there's no plugs for them on this. Same as the VVTi solenoids here on the normal these, but being 2UZ, they normally have a taller intake manifold. So we move along. Just pop these injectors off while I'm doing this job. See, who says men can't multitask? Doing two things at once. We have this connector up here. Now this is like a little short subloom that goes to the TPS. Little 4-pin connector like that. And this normally stays on the throttle body assembly. The TPS plug, the sensor's actually tucked, let's see, under there. And that connector is the same as the early model 1UZs. However, the pinout is quite different for that. Throttle motor has a 4-pin, but it looks like that one. Again, shared with the 1UZ VVTi from all years. So we go down to the left-hand cam sensor. So that is the same as all years of 1UZ again. The left-hand cam sensor. And we come down to here, we've got a 3-pinner. That's for the air conditioning pump. So you can see why it's normally by the air conditioning pump. We come down the front of this engine. Hopefully we'll keep in focus. And we've got that one. That is your front crank sensor. Again, same plug as all the 1UZ range. Or interchanges with. And same as a VVTi sensor actually. The actuator solenoid. Let's come up here. But probably pays not to plug it in there because it won't work. Oil pressure. Look at that. So that's what the oil pressure sensor looks like. And it's actually just a switch. Again, same as other 1UZs. The UCF20 runs the same. It's a common Toyota connector. So we have the accelerator position sensor. This is a drive-by-wire throttle. My hand's all in the way. Let's go in here. Doing nothing until it's powered up. Does a little bit right there. So that is drive-by-wire. That's the accelerator position sensor. That's the throttle motor. Butterfly to the TPS on the side. I digress. So that connector. So this is a 4-pin coil connector. That's used on the accelerator position sensor, the APS. And that is the same as the UCF20 coils. So the accelerator position sensor plug is the same as the early VVTi, 1UZ VVTi coil connectors. So not these ones, because you see those are different shape. Yeah, not the same. So that's the APS. Same connector. Water temp sensor, the EFI temp sensor down in here. So there's the connector. Now this one is the same as the VVTIs. So they changed the keying in the connector between the non-VVTi and the VVTi engines. And this one is interesting enough. With the 2UZ, it actually has got a water temp sensor. That one's for the dash. And you'll see my 3UZ factory, it doesn't have one because it's run through the ECU, but different on the 2UZ. Now on the 2UZ, we have the wiring loom that comes down the side of the engine here, and it runs along to this connector here, which is for the oxygen sensors. Same on both sides, and same as all the earlies as well. Now, if you're doing a 2UZ, there's this wire. This isn't normally part of the main engine harness. I've added this in, I've run the extra wires, but the airflow meter out in the main body harness, so just watch for that. As we run down this side, again we've got the coil connectors and the injectors. Because it's 2UZ, different intake manifold, so it doesn't have the AVIS, so there's no connector for that. Earth on each cylinder head, there and there. This connector up in here, on the 2UZ, if I can unplug it. So this is where the knock sensor is, and it has only got the 2 knock sensor wires in it. There is no big main start connector. That is run externally, goes in on the main start loom. And then we pop down here, we've got 3 connectors. And this is a common trend on Land Cruisers to have an extra connector for the transmission harness. We've also got this one coming down to there. So that is the overdrive speed sensor, or the turbine input speed sensor for the transmission. Down to the side here, we've also got the other oxygen sensor connector and oil level switch right there, which is normally located in the back of the sump. Coming down this side, we come down. That is your start inhibit, because it's got the 2 main start inhibit wires in there, or the gear indicator, often referred to as the start inhibit gear indicator plug or combination switch. There we go there. And right next to it, that is a temperature sensor. It actually runs up to the engine ECU on this vehicle. The oil temp sensor for the transmission on the 2UZ is external. It isn't in the transmission like the 1UZ VVTIs and the early, like the 20 series non-VVTi transmissions. Hence, there's less pins used in the solenoid plug. I think I've got most of it ready to come off now. Got to do those 2 earths. We have more loom. So this is the gearbox harness. Plugs in at the 3 on the back that I showed you. Comes down. We've got a pair of switches on the gearbox and transfer, that one and that one. This is the solenoid plug. Now this is quite interesting. This is the solenoid plug. 8 pins like a UCF20. That the UCF20 non-VVTi and the later, like the post-92 UCF10 and a lot of other Toyota transmissions. However, we've only got 5 of the 8 wires used. This fella here is the gearbox output shaft sensor, speed sensor. Same plug as the early ones. And actually, we missed one of those plugs. That one there is the same as this one here. This is the purge solenoid for the charcoal canister. That's where that plug goes. You can see it's up on the left-hand side of the engine. Back to this transmission loom. Getting to the back of it. Now this one actually has a rear speed sensor. Some of these harnesses won't have that. Rear oxygen sensor here, and further up the harness over here. And right at the back, we have your center diff lock plug and the indicator for when that's engaged. I fitted an OBD2 plug to it as well. That's that fella there. So that's all the connectors on this 2UZ loom. It's a little bit different. It's a Euro spec one, but it's very similar to the JDM and the US spec 2UZ loom, non-VVTi, out of a UZJ100 Land Cruiser. And that's probably important. There are differences between different models. So hopefully that was helpful. As I said, I'm going to work through each of the UZ looms. We'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later.